The radio show, Those Were the Days, began in the spring of 1970. For 39 years now, the weekly program has looked back and listened to an era when radio ruled. The show has always had the same time slot and the same host, but one of those things is about to change. Joining us now are the longtime host of Those Were the Days, Chuck Schaden, and the future host, Steve Darnall. Welcome to Chicago Tonight. Chuck, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
First of all, why, Chuck, did you, in the first place, find the Golden Age so interesting?
I grew up with it, and I loved it, and then all of a sudden it was gone. And for all those years as a kid listening on the floor in front of my Zenith radio, I used my imagination, and all the pictures were in my mind. And I loved listening to Charlie McCarthy and Jack Benny and Inner Sanctum and Lights Out and the Aldridge Family. And it was great. And then television came on the scene, and pretty soon the radio shows were gone, and I realized I missed all those folks. So I started looking for copies of those shows, not thinking that anything would be around, because I knew that really they were always done live.
Well, my understanding is you have copies of more than 50,000 vintage broadcasts. Where did you get them?
Everywhere. I got them from writers, directors, producers, performers, actors, advertising agencies, people who had wire recorders and recorded them off the air, every place. And I started finding them in an era when tape recording was kind of prevalent. And so I'm starting to collect tapes of radio shows. And then I found other people who shared my interest, and we started trading. And the thing about trading tapes is that if you make a good copy, you can maintain a good copy. If I'm a stamp collector and you want one of my stamps, we have to trade a stamp, and I give it up. If I'm a coin collector, the same thing. But with these sounds, if I'm good about making a good copy, then we both have a good copy.
Steve, how about you? What got you hooked? Because you are, frankly, a younger man than Chuck, and you were born when? In the...
I don't think that's possible.
When were you born, in the 70s?
I was born in 64.
64, okay.
Yeah.
You were born in 64, so you did not grow up listening to the vintage shows that Chuck just alluded to. What got you hooked?
Well, Chuck did, actually. I was, in the winter of 1977, I was in the car with my father, and I had suggested we turn on the radio, and I don't know why, looking back, and then he said, "Tell me what you think of this." And he switched over to Those Were the Days, and it was Fibber McGee and Molly. And that was about as good an introduction as you could ask for. I mean, it was well written, and it was that sort of punny, smart aleck humor that a 12-year-old would find absolutely fascinating. And then when I realized that these were done live with studio audiences and with actors in front of microphones, it was absolutely fascinating. It was a part of the world and a part of American history I did not know existed. And I just dove in.
This is in 1976, if you were 12 years old.
That's right.
Okay, so Chuck, you're stepping down after all these years. How come?
Well, it seems like it's the right time to do it. I just completed 39 years on the air.
Didn't want to go for an even 40?
Well, I thought I would. In fact, I thought I might even go beyond that. But 39 is an iconic number in the radio days because of Jack Benny.
And since you've said that, I understand you interviewed Waukegan's the local hero. Tell me about that encounter between you and Jack Benny.
It was wonderful because I started on the air in May of 1970, and in September.
We're looking at a picture. That's
right.
That's you with nice dark hair and a nice beard, interviewing the man himself.
He was playing the Mill Run Theater in Chicago, in Niles actually, and I called over there and said, "I've got this radio show. I'd like to talk to Mr. Benny," and they said, "Okay, come on over." And I brought a tape recorder and a photographer and we sat down for maybe 20, 25 minutes with Mr. Benny, and he was wonderful. And we talked about the radio. Absolutely, because I spent all my life listening to Jack Benny on the radio. It was wonderful.
So, Steve, you're going to be taking over as host, and when do you take over?
My first show is the 4th of July.
You've never done radio before?
Not commercially, no.
A little nervous about it, or?
Oh, not especially. I mean, yes, it's a new experience, and of course I have a pair of big shoes to fill. There's no denying that. But having said that, Chuck has done so much to ease this transition, and Chuck's listeners have done so much. You know, I'm so grateful for the response I've gotten for people who say, "We're so glad the shows are going to be on. We're so glad that this tradition is continuing." I mean, I'm like everyone else. I'll miss hearing Chuck on Saturday, but we have Jack Benny and Fibber McGee and Bob and Ray, and with all due respect, I think these shows are bigger than all of us.
Steve, it strikes me that the show has been on longer than the golden age of radio actually lasted.
Right.
Do you find a certain irony there? Or, I mean, it is kind of unusual.
It is strange, you know, but I don't think too much about it in the sense that I'm amazed that Chuck managed to find some secret that radio in its golden age couldn't harbor. You know, that it suggested radio died in the 1950s supposedly because everyone was flocking to television and they didn't want this tedious medium where you couldn't see anything. And for 39 years, Chuck's proven exactly the opposite is true.
Chuck, Steve just told a story about how he was hooked on this when he was 12 years old. How about young people coming up now? I mean, what is your sense of the extent to which they might be attracted to
They
this?
are there.
Seriously?
Absolutely. Not in the same giant numbers as more mature people, but they are there. In fact, I have 3 generations of members of the same family listening, in many families. The parents, when I went on the air with the show, is 35 years old, and people my age, a little bit older, were listening to the programs. They had children. The children grew up listening to their parents listening to my show and in the car and the tapes and so
great
forth.
tradition.
And now their kids are coming along. And it's not unusual for me to be in some place where there are a lot of families coming around to see us or do whatever we're doing, and a little 7-year-old will say to me a routine from the Jack Benny Show. See, sigh, all that sort of thing.
Steve, why do you think these programs hold up?
Oh, well, some of them, I think they're just well written, they're well performed, and to some extent, beyond that, I think they're a part of history that really gets overlooked. That's one of the things that I found so fascinating when Chuck would play, for instance, shows centering around World War II. You know, and you'd hear people talk about rationing and about victory gardens. And admittedly, if you get a history textbook about World War II, it will tell you who fought where, it will tell you who bombed who, and that's vital, that's important to know. But this tells you something about what people did day to day. This fills in the small details about the things that actually do affect all of us, and that's how we lived our lives every day in America.
Steve, I will tell you that when I listen to your program, Saturday afternoons, 1 o'clock, that's always when it's been on, what captivates me about it is they sound so fresh and spontaneous. And to me, that's what hooks me in. And they're so completely, in many respects, so different from what we have out there now that you can't stop listening to the routines.
It's the technique of the radio actor, the technique of the radio performer. They have only one instrument to use on that program, and that's their voice. They don't have to worry about makeup. They don't have to worry about costumes. They don't have to worry about anything. And they do the shows. And these shows, over all the years that I've been playing them, are a popular culture, a look at the popular culture of America in that period of time.
And before we go, I wanted to show this magazine that is connected with the program. It's the magazine that Steve edits. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Gentlemen, Chuck, good luck with your new stage in your life.
Thank you.
And Steve, good luck with your new assignment.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Appreciate it.
And in a moment, Eddie Aruzzo will be here with Jeffrey Bear in tonight's edition of Ask Jeffrey, so stick around.
Chicago Tonight is made possible in part through the generous support of the Julius Frankel Foundation.